Shabbatayat, present yourself.
Shabbatayat, Ban Yasha'ala, Ban Yahawada, Ban Yasha'ala.
Shabbatayat, Ban Yahawada, Ban Yasha'ala.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatam.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatam.
La Yasha'ala.
Then I say Amajim, which means to stand. Wapanya Hakodam, which means turn and face the east. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer first in Hebrew. Repeat after me. Avanau. Shabbat Shemayim.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Kadash.
Kadash.
Hayah.
I.S.U.P.K.
Yahweh. Malak with Ka.
Taba'ah.
Matazayaka. Hayah. I.S.U.P.K. Baratza. Kawak. Hayah. Shemayim. Damdanau. Lakam. Ka. Yawam. Wasalakinau. Kabawatinau. Kasalakinau. Kabawatinau. Wala'ah. Tabi'ainau. I want to say one. Ball. Hawashayinau. Mayan. Right. Kaya. Laka. Amalakwa. Waha'ala. Watapara. Wa'alayamyam. Aman.
In the English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
We're going to say the power. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahushua. Let them know.
Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, please give us the power the power to heal all manner of sickness, and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahushua, thank you. So be it.
We're going to say, bless Israel. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahushua. Baraklanau. Wayasha'ala. Sapari. Barak. Magun. Ba'ashem Yahushua. Wadaman.
And in the Hebrew, in the English, Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua. Bless us. And Israel. And the school. Bless. Heal. Shield. Protect. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it.
We'll say Psalms 121. Asha'ah. Ayanya.
Ayanya.
Ahahari. Ma'ayan. Yaba'ah. Aizari. Ma'ayin. Yahweh. I.S.U.P.K. Shemayim. Ba'aratza. Ayathan. Lamawat. Zgaka. Alyanawam. Shamarka. Anah. La'ah. Yanawam. Wala'ah. Yayashun. Shalomah. Yasha'ala. Yahweh. Shamarka. Yahweh. Tazaka. Aliyah. Yamyaka. Yamamam. Hashemash. La'ah. Yakaka. Wayarak. Balayala. Yahweh. Shamarka. Makarai. Yashema. Athnapashka. Yahweh. Yashema. Taza'atka. Wabu'atka. Ma'aitha. Wa'aid Awalam. Wa'adaman.
In the English, I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh.
My help comes from your house,
Which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be
He
moved.
that keepeth thee
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth
shall
Israel
neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee
Yahweh shall preserve
from
thee
all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going
and
out
thy coming in.
and thy coming
From
in.
this time forth
From this time forth
and even forevermore,
and even forevermore.
so be it.
So be it. We'll say Psalms 83. Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Al-Damayalaka.
Al-Damayalaka.
Al-Takarash.
Al-Takarash.
Al-Tashakwa.
Al-Tashakwa.
Al. Ka-Yahanna.
Ka-Yahanna.
Al-Yabika.
Al-Yabika.
Yahama Yawan.
Yahama Yawan.
Wa-Mashanayaka.
Wa-Mashanayaka.
Nasha'aw.
Nasha'aw.
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash.
Al-Aimaka.
Al-Aimaka.
Ya'arayamu.
Ya'arayamu.
Sawad.
Sawad.
Wa-Yathaya'itas of
Where you take the ites as a what?
Al-Tazapawanyaka.
Al-Tazapawanyaka.
Amarwa.
Amar.
Wakawa.
Makar.
Wanakakida.
Wanakakida.
Magalia.
Magalia.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yazakar.
Yazakar.
Sham Yasha'al.
Sham Yasha'al.
Iwad.
Iwad.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Nawa'itas of
Never ites as a what?
La.
La.
Yakaru.
Lakaru.
Aliyaka.
Aliyaka.
Maryah.
Maryah.
Yakarath.
Yakarath.
Ahaya.
Ahali.
Adawam.
Adawam.
Wayashma'ayim.
Wayashma'ayim.
Mawa'aba.
Mawa'aba.
Wahagarian.
Wahagarian.
Gabal.
Gabal.
Wa'amawan.
Wa'amawan.
Wa'amalak.
Wa'amalak.
Kalashah.
Kalashah.
Amyashabi.
Amyashabi.
Tazawur.
Tazawur.
Gamashu.
Gamashu.
Nalawat.
Nalawat.
Imam.
Imam.
Hayawat.
Hayawat.
Zarawat.
Zarawat.
Labanilawat.
Labanilawat.
Salat.
Salat.
Aisha Laham.
Aisha Laham.
Kamajid.
Kamajid.
Kasaya Sara'at.
Kasaya Sara'at.
Kayabin. Banakal.
Manakal.
Koyashuan.
Koyashuan.
Nashamadu.
Nashamadu.
Ba'ayanda Awa.
Ba'ayanda Awa.
Hayawa.
Hayra.
Daman.
Daman.
La'adama.
La'adama.
Shayatamba.
Shayatamba.
Nadayamuwa.
Nadiyamuwa.
Ka'ara.
Ka'ara.
Wakaza Slakia. Wakaza Abba.
Wakaza Abba.
Wakaza Bak.
Wakaza Bak.
Wakaza Zamana.
Wakaza Zamana.
Kanisaya Kamwa.
Kanisaya Kamwa.
Ashar.
Ashar.
Amarwa.
Amar.
Nayarashah.
Nayarashah.
Lanawa.
Lanawa.
Af. Na'awa.
Na'awa.
Alahayam.
Alahayam.
Alahayat.
Alahayat.
Shayatamba.
Shayatamba.
Kagagala.
Kagagala.
Lakwash.
Sakwash.
Lapanyarokwa.
Lapaniraka.
Ka'ash.
Ka'ash.
Ira Yaira.
Laba Ayra Ayra.
Wakala Haba.
Wakahalaba.
Falahat.
Kalahat.
Haryam.
Aryam.
Khan.
Khan.
Thirdatma.
Thirdatma.
Basa Irika.
Basa Irika.
Wabasa Wapatka.
Wabasa Wapatka.
Bahalam.
Tabahalam.
Mala'a.
Mala'a.
Panyaham.
Panyaham.
Kwalawan.
Kwalawan.
Wayabakwashwa.
Wayabakwashwa.
Shimka.
Shamka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yabashwa.
Yabashwa.
Wayaba'awa.
Wayaba'awa.
Aja'ai.
Aja'ai.
Wayakapara.
Wayakapara.
Wayabadu.
Wayabadu.
Wayada'aiwa.
Wayada'aiwa.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Katha.
Katha.
Shimka.
Shamka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Badka.
Badka.
Ayuwan.
Ayuwan.
Al-Ka'aratza.
Al-Ka'aratza.
Wadaman.
The water of man in the English. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O
Hold
Yahweh.
not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
And be not still.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For lo,
For lo,
thy enemies make a tumble.
thy enemies make a tumble.
And they that hate thee
And they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel
They have taken crafty counsel
against thy people.
against thy people.
And consulted against thy hidden
And
one.
consulted against thy hidden
They
one.
have said,
They have said,
Come,
Come,
and let us cut them off
and let us cut them
from
off
being a nation.
from being a
That
nation.
the name of Israel
In the name of
may
Israel,
be no more remembered.
maybe no more remember.
For they have consulted together
For they have consulted
with
together
one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against
The
thee.
tabernacles of Edom,
The tabernacles of Edom,
and the Ishmaelites,
and the
of
Ishmaelites,
Moab,
of Moab,
and the Hagarenes,
and Hagarenes,
of Old and Ammon,
Cabal and
and Amalek,
Amalek,
the Philistines,
Philistines,
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Asher is also joined with them.
Asher is also joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them
Do unto them
as unto the
as
Midianites,
unto the
as
Midianites,
to Sisera,
as to
as
Sisera,
to Jabin,
as to
and
Jabin,
the brook of Kishon,
at the brook of
which
Kishon,
perished at Endor.
which perished at
They
Endor.
became as dung for the earth.
They became as done for the earth.
Make their nobles like a ring,
Make their nobles like a
and
ring,
like Sa'id,
and like Sa'ed.
Yea,
Yea,
all the princes,
all their princes,
as above,
as Zabah,
and as Zamuna,
and as
who
Amun,
said,
who said,
Let us take to ourselves
let us take to
the
ourselves
houses of Yahweh in possession.
the house of Yahweh in possession.
Oh my power,
Oh my power,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a wheel,
as the stubble before the wind,
as a stubble before
as
the
the
wind,
fire burneth the wood,
as a fire burning
and as the flame set the mountains on fire.
and as the flame set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them
So persecute
with thy tempest,
with thy tempest,
and make them afraid
and make them afraid
with thy stone.
with thy stone.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with
that
shame,
they may seek thy name.
that they may seek
O
thy name.
Yahweh,
Oh
let
Yahweh,
them be confounded
let them be
and
defiled
troubled forever.
and troubled forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame
let them be put to
and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. So be it.
And with that, I say sorry, which means turn. Yeshabim, which means to be seated.
Up here, Yeshabim, which means to be seated. We're going to pick up in the Hebrew. You understand? Brothers and sisters, as y'all coming online, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe to this to the stream. Make sure you follow the stream. We're going to pick up in the Hebrew. You understand? As it is our customs. You understand? We read the Hebrew first, and then we read it in the English. You know what I'm saying? Keeping these same traditions. You understand? We're going to be at 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 26. Brother, you'll take the first two scriptures. Of course, you finish the rest of them.
1 Kings chapter 23, verse 26. Ak. La. Or la. Bakar.
Shah. Oh, it's like it. No. That's it. Shah.
Okay. Sly. Shah. Yahweh. Makarawa. A power. Haga the wall. Ashar. Kara. A power. By Yahweh with that. By Yahweh there. Al. Kab. Haka Isa Yam. Ashar. Haka Yeshawa. Manasha. Waya Amar. Yahweh. Gam. Af. Yahweh. Asiyar. Ma'ila. Panya. Ka'ashar. Hasarafya. Af. Yasha'ala. Wama Asaf. Yeah. Af. Yar. Hazar Af. Ashar. Bakarathya. Af. Yahweh Shalom. Wa'af. Habayath. Ashar. Amarathya. Yahweh. Yahaya. Shemaya. Shama.
Most High in Christ. Verse 28. Wayathar. Dabarya. Asha Yahweh. Wakal. Ashar. Aisha. Hala'ah. Hum. Katha. Wabayim. Al. Sapar. Dabarya. Hayamyam. Lamalakia. Yahweh. Verse 29. Baya Mayawa. Alya. Para'ai. Nakah. Malak. Ma Tazarayim. Ma Tazayarium. Al. Malak. Ashawar, Al, Nahara, Parath, Wayalak, Hamalak, Ashahaya, Shahawa, La Karaathwa, Wayam, Waya, Mayath Hawa, Ba Magad Gadwa, Kadaathwa, Athwa, verse 30. Wayarak Bahawa, Ibajawa, Matha, Mama Gadawa, Waya Ba'ahawa, Yara Washalam, Waya Kwa Rahawa, Ba Kwa Barathwa, Waya Koka, Aim, Ha Ratza, Ath, Yaha Wa'a Kaza, Ban, Ya'a She Yahawa, Waya Mashakwa, Athwa, Waya Mala Yakawa, Athwa, Thakath, Bayawa, verse 31. Bun, Ishayar, Isharayim, Washalam, Shana, Yaha, Wa'akaza, Bama Lakwa, Washalasha, Hakashim, Malak, Baya Rawa Shalom, Washam, Amawa, Kama Watal, Bath, Yaram, Yahawa, Ba Labana, verse 32, Wa Aisha, Hara'ai, Ba'ai, Yanaya, Yahawa, Kakal, Ashar, Aishawa, Abathayawa. That's it.
What's our question? We're going to pick up in the English. 2 Kings, chapter 23, verse 26.
2 Kings chapter 23, verse 26. Notwithstanding, the Lord turned not from the fierceness of his great wrath, wherewith his anger was kindled against Judah, because of all the provocations and that Manasseh had provoked him withal. Verse 27. And the Lord said, I will remove Judah also out of my sight, as I have removed Israel, and will cast off this city, Jerusalem, which I have chosen, and the house of which I said, my name shall be there. Verse 28. Now the rest of the acts of Josiah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? Verse 29. In his days, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up against the king of Assyria to the river Euphrates. And King Josiah went against him, and he slew him in Megiddo when he had seen him. Verse 30. And his servants carried him in a chariot dead from Megiddo, and brought him to Jerusalem, and buried him in his own sepulchre. And the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, and anointed him, and made him king in his father's stead. Mm-hmm. Verse 31. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. Verse 32. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his fathers had done.
Osiris Christ. That was the last verse.
Come.
We're going to stay up here. We're going to start up in the Hebrew. We're going to pick back up at 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 33. So go ahead, Quash. Verse 33.
Verse 33. Waya Sarahawa.
No, put that back.
Paraiha. Nakah. Ba Rabala. Ba Ratsa. Kamath. Ba Makal. Salakia. Ba Malak. Baya Rashalam. Wayathan. Ainasha. Al. Ha Ratsa. Ma'a. Kakar. Kasak. Wa Kakar. Zahab. Verse 34. Waya Malak. Paraiha. Nakah. Al Yaquayam. Ban. Ya'a Shahawa. Thakath. Ya'a Shayahawa. Bayawa. Waya Sa. Ath. Mashawa. Yahaya. Yahai. Wayakya. Wa'ath. Yaha. Wa'ak. Kza. Lakak. Waya Ba'a. Matazarium. Waya Matha. Sham. Verse 35. Waha Kasab.
Say it again.
Waha Zahab. Nathan.
Oh, okay. That's the one.
Yaha Wayakyam. La Paraiha. Aka. I Rayak. Ath. Ha Radaza. Lathath. Ath. Ha Kasa. Al. Paya. Pa Raiha. Ayash. Ka'ai Rakawa. Nagash. Ath. Ha Kasa. Wa'ath. Ha Zahab. Ath. Aim. Ha Radaza. Lathath. Lapa Ra'aya. Nakah. Verse 36. Bun. Asherayam. Waka Mashat. Waka Mashat. Shana. Yahaya Wakyam. Bamalakwa. Wa'akatha. Asherah. Shana. Malak. Baya Rashalam. Washam. Amawa. Zabah Yada. Bath. Padaya. Mana. Rarama. Verse 37. Waya Aisha. Hai Ra'ai. Ba'ai Yanaya. Yahweh. Kakal. Ashar. Aishawa. Abba Thayawa. That's it. Slakia. 2 Kings 24 and 1. Waya Ba Yamayawa. Al. Naba Kada Na'a Tazar. Malak. Babal. Wayahaya. Lawa. Yaha Wayakyam. Ibad. Shalash. Shanaya. Wayashab. Waya Marad. Bawa. Verse 2. Wayashalak. Yahweh. Bawa. Ath. Gada. Dawadaya. Kashadiam. Wa'ath. Gada. Dawadaya. Aram. Wa'ath. Dawadaya. Mawa'aba. Wa'ath. Gadawadaya. Banya. Imawan. Wayashalama. Ba Yahawada. La Ha'a Bayadawa. Kadabar. Yahweh. Ashar. Dabar. Bayad. Ibajawa. Ha Naba Ya'ayam. That's it.
All right, now we're going to read it in the English. We are at 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 33.
Verse 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 33. And Pharaoh, Necho, put him in bands at Riblah in the land of Hamath, that he might not reign in Jerusalem, and put the land to a tribute of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. Verse 34. And Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim, the son of Josiah, king in the room of Josiah, his father, and turned his name to Jehoiakim, and took Jehoahaz away, and he came to Egypt and died there. Verse 35. And Jehoiakim gave the silver and the gold to Pharaoh, but he taxed the land to give the money according to the commandment of the Pharaoh. He exacted the silver and the gold of the people of the land of everyone according to his taxation, to give it unto Pharaoh Necho. Verse 36. And Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Zebudah, the daughter of Pedaiah of Ramah. Verse 37. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his fathers had done. 2 Kings chapter 24, verse 1. In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him. Verse 2. And the Lord sent against him bands of Chaldees, and bands of Syrians, and bands of Moabites, and bands of the children of Ammon, and sent them against Judah to destroy it.
Just real quick, this show you right here, whenever we sin against the Lord, he sins against us, other nations. That's the only way they can conquer us, is if we sin against our God and our God sails us. Right. You understand? Without that, they wouldn't be able to rule over us, because everybody else is less than us. We are better than everybody else. The Bible is black supremacy. So I keep reading.
According to the word of the Lord, which he spake by his servants, the prophets.
That's all Christ. Or what, if you could, up here, imagine, which means to stand.
Awawad Bun Gad, Bun Yashala.
Awawad Bun Gad, Bun Yashala.
Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Barakatha.
Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Barakatha. The what word?
Wow.
Up here, Yeshabi, which means be seated. We're going to pick up where we left off. We are at 2 Kings chapter 24, verse 3. We're going to read it in the Hebrew first.
2 Kings chapter 24, verse 3. I.S.U.P.K, Yahweh, Hayatha, Fire, by Yahweh.
Laha, Sayara, Ma'ab, Panayawa, Baka, Ta'ak, Manasha, Kakaka, Asha, verse 4, Wagum, Dema, Hana, Koya, Asha, Shapak, Wayama Allah, Salaki, Wayama La, Yara, Washalam, Dema, Nakoya, Wala Abaha, Yahweh, Lasa, the cup, verse 5, Wayatha, Depa, Baya, Yaha, Waya, Koyam, Waka, Asha, Hala, Ham, Katha, Wabayam, Support, double Waya, Haya, Mayam, Lamalakya, Yahweh, verse 6, Waya, Shika, Yaha, Waya, Koyam, Ain, Abathayawa, Wayamalak, Yaha, Waya, Kayan, Manawa, Taka, Thayawa,
Verse 9.
Wala'a, Hasa, Gepa, Awada, Iwad, Malak, Matazari, Latiza, Atha, Ma'aratiza, Wa, Kaya, Lakwa, Ka, Malak, Baba, Manaka, Matazari, Nahawa, Barak, Ka, Ashar, Hayatha, Lamala, Matazari, verse 8, Bun, Shema, Na, Ashar, Shanah. Yahweh, Yahah, Wayah, Kayan, Mamalakwa, Washalak, Shah, Kadashian, Malak, Bayarua, Bayar, Washalam, Washam, Amawa, Mika, Shata, Ba, Allah, Nathan, Mayarawash, Shalom.
All right, now we're going to read it in the English. We are at 2 Kings chapter 24, verse 3.
2 Kings chapter 24, verse 3. Surely, at the commandment of the Lord came this upon Judah, to remove them out of his sight for the sins of Manasseh, according to all that he did, and also for the innocent blood that he shed, for he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, which the Lord would not pardon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? So Jehoiakim slept with his fathers, and Jehoiakim his son reigned in his stead. And the king of Egypt came not again any more out of his land, for the king of Babylon had taken from the river of Egypt unto the river Euphrates all that pertained to the king of Egypt. Jehoiakim was 18 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. And his mother's name was Nehushta, the daughter of Elnathan of Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father had done.
Beside Christ. Yeah, Michael, you mean to stand? The rock, present yourself.
Barak ban Yahweh ban Yashal.
Barak ban Yahweh ban Yashal.
Yahweh ban Shemi Al Shabrakatham.
Yahweh ban Shemi Al Shabrakatham. Up here, Yeshabin, which means be seated. We're going to pick up where we left off. We are at 2 Kings, chapter 24, verse 10.
Chapter 24, verse 10 in the Hebrew. Ba'ayf, ha'a, yaha, ya'a, ayla, aybadaya, nabak, dana, atazar, malak, babal, yarwa, shalom, Watha ba'a ha'ayah, bamatazawal, verse 11, waya ba'a, nabawa, kada na'atazar, malak, babal, ayah, ha'ayah, wa'ay, badayawa, tazaryam, aliyah, verse 12, wayataza'a, Yahweh, yakayan, malak, Yahweh dar, ayah, malak, babal, hawa'a, wa'a, mawa, wa'a, Bari Yawa, Washal Yawa, Wasal Yesayawa, Waya Kaka, Athwa, Malak, Babal, Bashanath, Shamana, Lamalakwa, verse 13, Waya Wataza'a, Masham, Athkar, Awa Tazarwa, Bayath, Yahweh, Watazarwa, Bayath, Hamalak, Waya Kakataza, Ath Kalaya, Hazaha, Asha, Shalama, Malak, Yasha'Allah, Baha, Yakov, Yahweh, Ka'ashar, the ball, Yahweh, verse 14, Waha, Gala, Ath, Carol, Yara, Washalam, Wa'ath, Carol, Hashayim, Wa'ath, Carol, Gaba, Waraya, Hakayo, Ashara, Allah, Payam, Gawala, Wako, Hakarash, Waha, Masagar, La'a, Nasha'al, Zavalath, Dalath, Aima, Rataza, verse 15, Wayago, Ath, Yaha, Wayakayan, Baba La, Wa'ath, Amar, Hamalak, Wa'ath, Nashaya, Hamalak, Wa'ath, Saryawa, Wa'ath, Awalaya, Ha'a, Rataza, Hawalayak, Gawala, Mayar, Washalam, Babala, verse 16, Wa'ath, Karel, Anashaya, Hakayo, Shaba'aith, Ala Payam, Waha Karash, Wahama Sagar, Alapa, Alap, Hako, Gabo Waryam, Aishayam, Mala Kamar, Baya Amar, Malak, Babal, Gawala, Babala.
That's it. Good thing. So, this was the first time the twins been here?
The second time.
We'll get the most high hand for these. So I see these two boys right here. We read about our records. And these children right here are the future of Israel. This is who we're doing it for. You understand? And that always keeps me going. And so we made our mistakes and we had our issues, but we get a chance to come in here and to establish something that these boys hopefully will never see. Half the things that we seen and did, half the things that we did. You understand? And it's worth it. You understand? We got to sacrifice for them and it's worth it. So let's read that in English. We are at 2 Kings chapter 24, verse 10.
2 Kings chapter 24, verse 10. At the time, the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up against Jerusalem, and the city was besieged. Verse 11. And Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came against the city and his servants did besiege it. Verse 12. And Jehoiachin, the king of Judah, went out to the king of Babylon, he and his mother and his servants and his princes and his officers. And the king of Babylon took him in the 8th year of his reign. Verse 13. And he carried out thence all the treasures of the house of the Lord and the treasures of the king's house, and cut in pieces all the vessels of gold which Solomon, king of Israel, had made in the temple of the Lord, as the Lord had said. Verse 14. And he carried away all Jerusalem and all the princes and all the mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained, save the poorest sort of the people of the land. Verse 15. And he carried away Jehoiakim to Babylon, and the king's mother, and the king's wives, and his officers, and the mighty of the land. Those carried he into captivity from Jerusalem to Babylon. Verse 16. And all the men of might, even 7,000, and craftsmen and smiths 8,000, all that was strong and apt for war, even them the king of Babylon brought captive to Babylon.
So like what we're reading about right here is what's going on in America. You understand? Like even in the Olympics, you look at these sisters and these brothers that have these superior physical skills, and you see that, and they are doing it for the oppressor, for the entertainment of America and the world. When these are people that the Lord wants to be building up the nation of Israel. You read about how even in Babylon, they took away the best of our people. You understand? And that's what they do in America now. You understand? To keep the ghetto destroyed. That's why Christ wants the brothers in the ghettos, man. Even if you're not from the ghetto, Christ wants the people that are rejected by this place. Right. You understand? Because that's who he's charging to build his kingdom. With that, I imagine which means to stand. Our
Our Wadia Bungad Bun Yasha Allah.
Our Wadia Bungad Bun Yasha Allah.
Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shabbat
Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shabbat. Good read, bro. Up here, Yushabi, which means be seated. We will pick up where we left off. We are at where we at before.
2 Kings 24 and 17, sir.
No sweat. I'm gonna read this one.
And we're going to stop at 25 and 3, sir.
The water. 2 Kings chapter 24, verse 17. Waya Malak, Babal, Av, Mathanayah, Dadawa, Thakathua, Wayasa, Av, Shemawa, Tazadak Yahweh. Verse 18. Bun, Aisharya, Wa'ath, Wa'akath, Shana, Tazadak Yahweh, Ba Malakwa, Wa'akath, Aishara, Shana, Malak, Ba Yarawashalam, Washam, Amawa, Kamayata, Bath, Yaramaya, it's like Yoram Yahweh, Malabana, verse 19. Waya Aisha, Hara'ai, Ba'ayanya, Yahweh, Kakal, Ashar, Aisha, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yakwam, Yakyam, verse 20. Kaya, Yahweh, Hayatha, Bayara Washalam, Waba Yahawada, Hai Shalakwa, Atham, Ma'al, Panayawa, Waya Mara, Tazadak Yahweh, Bamalak, Babal, 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 1. Wayahaya, Bashanath, Hathashayah. Is that one? Hathashayah, Lamalakwa, Bakadash, Ha'aishayarya, Ba'aishawar, Lakadash, Ba'a, Nabakadana Atazar, Malak, Babal, Hawa'a, Wakal, Kayalawa, Yarawa Shalom, Wayakan, Aliyah, Wayabanawa, Aliyah, the Yak, Sabayah, verse 2. Wathaba'a, Ha'ayah, Bamatazawar, Aishathia, Aishara, Shana, Lamalak, Tazadak Yahweh, verse 3. Bathashai, La Kadash, Wa Kazak, so Waya Kazak, Hara'ai, Ba'ayah, Wala'a, Haya, Lakam, La'ain, Ha'arataza. All right, now we're going to read it in the English. We are at 2 Kings chapter 24, verse 17.
2 Kings chapter 24, verse 17. And the king of Babylon made Mattaniah, his father's brother, king in his stead, and changed his name to Zedekiah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamatal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. For through the anger of the Lord, it came to pass in Jerusalem and Judah until he had cast them out from his presence, that Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 1. And it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came, he and all his hosts, against Jerusalem, and pitched against it. And they built forts against it round about. Verse 2. And the city was besieged until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. And on the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for the people of the land.
If you know anything about history, this was repeated when the Romans sacked Jerusalem in 70 AD. This has always been the tactic, to besiege Jerusalem and starve our people out, and understand, and then take over the city and take us into slavery or kill those that fought back. This is history repeats itself, and that's why it's a travesty for us to not know the Bible. It's real black history. You understand? This is our history right here. Up here, Majin, which means to stand. Slacking up. You're shopping. Be seated. We're going to keep on reading. We're going to go to 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 4. Or why do you take these right here?
Second Kings chapter 25, verse 4. Without Bakwa'at, Ha'ai, Yerah, Wakaz, Ana Shaya, Hamalakma, Hala, Yala, the rock, Sha'ira, Bayan, Haka, Matham, Salaki, Haka, Matha, Yam, Ashar, Al, Gana, Hamalak, Waka, Shada, Yam, Al, Ha'ara, Ha'ai, Yara, Sabah, Yaba, Wayala, the rock, Ha'ai, Rabah. Verse 5. Wayarada, Pawa, Kayala, Kasha, Dayam, Hakar, Hamalak, Waya, Shagawa, Atha, Athawa, Ba'ira, Watha, Yarakwa, Wakab, Kayalawa, Napataza Wa, Ma'al, Yawa, verse 6. Wayatapashwa, Atha, Hamalak, Waya, Alba, Atha, Athawa, Al, Malak, Paba, Rabah, Latha, Wayat, Barawa, Athawa, Masha, Patah. Verse 7. Wa'af, Banawa, Salaki, Banaya, Salaki, Banya, Taza, Da, Taza, Ikwa, Yahawa, Shaka, Tawa, La'a, Yana Yawa, Wa'af, Aniwa, Ayanya, Taza, the quiet, Yahweh, Awar, Waya Asa, Rahal, Banka, Shathayim, Waya Ba'a, Hawa, Gaba, verse 8. Wabak, Kadash, Haka, Mayashia, Bashabia, sorry, Bashar, Ba'ai, the Kadwa, sorry, Lakadash, Haya'ah, Shanaf, the Shah, Tasha'ai, Asha, Shana, Lamala, Naba, Kadana, Atazar, Malak, Baba, Ba'a, Nabawa, Zara, Adina, Ra, Tabakim, Abai, Malak, Baba, Yahweh Shalom, verse 9. Wayashah, Pa'af, Bayah, Yahweh, Wa'af, Bayah, Hamalak, Wa'af, Ka, Mathiyah, Yahweh Washington, Wa'af, Ka, Bayah, Gadawah, Shirah, Ba'ash, verse 10, Wa'af, Kawafma, Yara, Washalam, Sabbath, Yah, Natha Tazawa, Ka, Kaya, Kasha, Kayam, Ashar, Rabah, Tabakayim.
That's it. No sacrifice. All right. In the English, we are at 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 4.
2 Kings chapter 25, verse 4. And the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled by night by the way of the gate between two walls, which is by the king's garden. Now the Chaldees were against the city round about, and the king went the way toward the plain. And the army of the Chaldees pursued after the king and overtook him in the plains of Jericho. And all his army were scattered from him. So they took the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon to Riblah. And they gave judgment upon him. And they slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him with fetters of brass, and carried him to Babylon. And in the 5th month of the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem. And he burnt the house of the Lord, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burnt with fire. So and every great man's house burnt he with fire. Verse 10. And all the army of the Chaldees that were with the captain of the guard break down the walls of Jerusalem round about.
Most High Christ. We're going to go to 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 11. We're going to read it in the Hebrew first. Wa'af, Yathal, Ha'an, Hana Asharim, Ba'ayar, Wa'af, Hana Palayim, Ashar, Napawa, Hamalak, Babal, Wa'af, Yathal, Hahamawan, Halagah, Nabawazar Adan, Ra, Tabakim, verse 12, Wamadalah, Ha'aratazah, Ha'ayal, Ra, Tabakim, Lakaramyam, Wala Gabium, verse 13, Wa'af, Imawadia, Hanakashah, Ashar, Bayaf, Yahweh, Wa'af, Hamakanawa, Wa'af, Yum, Hanakashah, Ashar, Babayaf, Yahweh, Shabarah, Shabarwa, Kashadium, Waya Sha'awa, Af, Nakashkan, Babalah, verse 14, Wa'af, Hasayarath, Wa'af, Hayayim, Wa'af, Hamazah Marawath, Wa'af, Hakapawath, Wa'af, Kalaya, Hanakashaf, Ashar, Yasharathwa, Bum, Laquaqua, verse 15, Wa'af, Hamakathwa, Wa'af, Hamazarakwa, Ashar, Zahar, Wa'ashar, Kasap, Laqua, Ra, Tabakim, verse 16, Ha'imawadium, Shanayim, Hayam, Ha'akad, Wa Hamakanawa, Ashar, Aisha, Shalamath, Labayath, Yahweh, La'ah, Hayya, Mashakwal, Nanakashath, Kal, Hakalia, Ha'alah, verse 17, Shamanah, Aishara, Amah, Kwawamah, Ha'imawad, Ha'akad, Wakathra, Alyuwa, Nakashath, Wakwawamath, Hakathareth, Shalash, Amah, Washabka, Waram Nayam, Ab, Hakatharath, Sabayah, Hakab, Nakashath, Waka Allah, La'imawad, Hashanya, Ab, Hashabka, verse 18. Now we're going to read it in English. We are at 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 11.
2 Kings chapter 25, verse 11. Now the rest of the people that were left in the city and the fugitives that fell away to the king of Babylon with the remnant of the multitude did Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carry away. But the captain of the guard left of the poor of the land to be vine dressers and husbandmen, and the pillars of brass that were in the house of the Lord, and the bases, and the brazen sea that was in the house of the Lord, did the Chaldees break into pieces, and carried the brass of them to Babylon, and the pots, and the shovels, and the snuffers, and the spoons, and all the vessels of brass wherewith they ministered took they away, and the fire pans, and the bowls, and such things as were of gold in gold, and of silver in silver, the captain of the guard took away. The two pillars, one seat, and the bases which Solomon had made for the house of the Lord. The brass of all these vessels was without weight. The height of one pillar was 18 cubits, and the chapter upon it was brass, and the height of the chapter 3 cubits, and the wreathen work and pomegranates upon the chapter round about, all of brass, and like unto these had the second pillar with wreathen work.
Most High in Christ. Up here, Maja, which means to stand.
La Yasha Allah. With that I say Imagine, which means to stand. Walking Yahagodam, which means turn to face the east. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer first in Hebrew. Repeat after me. Abinau, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, I.S.U.P.K, Yahawah, Taba'ah, I.S.U.P.K, Baratza, Kawak, Bashemayim, Lakam, Yawam, Wasalaki now, Kasalaki now, Wala'ah, Tabi'ayna, Wanasaywan, Abba, Awashayna, Mayan, Kaya, Amalakwa, Ha'ala, Batapara, Aman.
In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
Let's say, cut the power, Yahawah, Hashem, Yahushua,
in the English, Yahawah, in the name of Yahushua, please give us the power. The power to heal all manner of sickness, and all manner of disease. power to cleanse the leper.
The power to cleanse the
The
leper.
power to raise the
The
dead.
power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean
To
spirits.
cast them out.
To cast them out.
In the name of Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
We say, bless Israel, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Hashem.
Hashem.
Yahushua. Barak Lanau. Yahashua.
Yahashua.
Wahabayah.
Wahabayah.
Sapari.
Barak.
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 Magun.
Magun.
Bashim Yahushua.
Bashim Yahushua.
Dawad Aman.
Dawad Aman.
In the English, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
Bless us.
Bless us.
And Israel.
And Israel.
And the school.
And the school.
Bless.
Bless.
Heal.
Heal.
Shield.
Shield.
Protect.
Protect.
Our loved ones.
Our loved ones.
In the name of Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
We'll say Psalms 121. Asha'a.
Asha'a.
Ayanya.
Ayanya.
Al-Hahari.
Al-Hahari.
Ma'ayan.
Ma'ayan.
Yaba'a.
Yaba'a.
Azari.
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 Ma'ayan.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Shemayim.
Shemayim.
Baratazah.
Ayatan.
Ayatan. Namawat.
Namawat.
Galka.
Galka.
Ayanawam.
Ayanawam.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Hanap.
Hanap.
La'a.
La'a.
Yanawam.
Yanawam.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yayashan.
Yayashan.
Shawama.
Shawama.
Yasha'ala.
Yasha'ala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Tazalka.
Tazalka.
Aliyah.
Aliyah.
Yamika.
Yamika.
Yawamam.
Yawamam.
Hashamash.
Hashamash.
La'a.
La'a.
Yakaka.
Yakaka.
Wayirak.
Wayirak.
Alayillah.
Alayillah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamarka.
Yashamarka.
Ka'arat.
Ka'arat.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Atnapashka.
Atnapashka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Taza'athka.
Taza'athka.
Wabu'athka.
Wabu'athka.
Ma'aitha.
Ma'aitha.
Ma'ait Awalam.
Ma'ait Awalam.
Dawad Aman.
Dawad Aman.
In the English, I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
I will lift up my eyes to the
From
hills.
whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from
My
Yahweh.
help cometh from Yahweh.
Which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee.
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel.
he that keepeth Israel
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right
The
hand.
sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
Nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee
Yahweh shall preserve
from
thee
all evil.
from all
He
evil.
shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
And thy coming in.
and thy coming in.
From this time forth.
From this time forth.
And even forevermore.
And even forevermore.
So be it.
So be it.
We'll say Psalms 83. Alahaya.
Alahaya.
Aldamaya Laka.
Aldamaya Laka.
Al-Thakarash.
Al-Thakarash.
Al-Thashakwa.
Al-Thashakwa.
Al. Kayahanna.
Kayahanna.
Hawayabika.
Hawayabika.
Hama Yaman.
Yahama Yaman.
Wamashanayaka.
Wamashanayaka.
Nasha'awa.
Nasha'awa.
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash.
Al-Amka.
Al-Amka.
Ya'arayamu.
Ya'arayamu.
Sawad.
Sawad.
Wayathaya'itas.
Wayathaya'itas.
Al-Tasapawanyaka.
Al-Tasapawanyaka.
Amarwa.
Amarwa.
Lakawa.
Lakawa.
Wanakakida.
Wanakakida.
Wagalia.
Wagalia.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yazaka.
Yazaka.
Sham Yasha'al.
Sham Yasha'al.
Iwad.
Iwad.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Nawa'itas.
Nawa'itas.
Lab.
Lab.
Yakadwa.
Yakadwa.
Aliyaka.
Aliyaka.
Wayath.
Wayath.
Yakarathwa.
Yakarathwa.
Ahaya.
Ahaya.
Adawam.
Adawam.
Wayashma'ayim.
Wayashma'ayim.
Mawa'ab.
Mawa'ab.
Wahagarian.
Wahagarian.
Gabal.
Gabal.
Wa'amawan.
Wa'amawan.
Wa'amalak.
Wa'amalak.
Halashat.
Halashat.
Amyashabi.
Amyashabi.
Tazawar.
Tazawar.
Gamashawar.
Gamashawar.
Nalawak.
Nalawak.
Imam.
Imam.
Hayawak.
Hayawak.
Zarawak.
Zarawak.
Labani Lawak.
Labani Lawak.
Salah.
Salah.
Aisha Laham.
Aisha Laham.
Kamajid.
Kamajid.
Kasai Sara'ab.
Kasai Sara'ab.
Kiyabid.
Kiyabid.
Banakal.
Banakal.
Yashua.
Yashua.
Nashimadwa.
Nashimadwa.
Ba'ayat Awa.
Ba'ayat Awa.
Hayawa.
Hayawa.
Daman.
Daman.
La'adama.
La'adama.
Shay Thumwa.
Shay Thumwa.
Nadiyamawa.
Nadiyamawa.
Ka'ara.
Ka'ara.
Because of Abba.
Because of Abba.
Because of Bak.
Because of Bak.
Because of Zamanai.
Because of Zamanai.
Kandasai Kumba.
Kandasai Kumba.
Ashar.
Ashar.
Marwa.
Marwa.
Nair Ashar.
Nair Ashar.
Lanawa.
Lanawa.
Af. Na'awa.
Na'awa.
Alahaya.
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 Shay Thumwa.
Shay Thumwa.
Kagagula.
Kagagula.
Kakwash.
Kakwash.
Kapanya Rakah.
Lapanya Rakah.
Ka'ash.
Ka'ash.
Kaba'ari Ya'ira.
Kaba'ari Ya'ira.
Wakala Haba.
Wakala Haba.
Dalahat.
Dalahat.
Haryam.
Haryam.
Khan.
Khan.
Daradama.
Daradama.
Basa Arika.
Basa Arika.
Basu Apatha.
Basu Apatha.
Sabahalam.
Sabahalam.
Mala'a.
Mala'a.
Panyaham.
Panyaham.
Palawan.
Palawan.
Wayabakwasha.
Wayabakwasha.
Shimka.
Shimka.
Yahawah.
Yahawah.
Yabashua.
Yabashua.
Wayaba'awa.
Wayaba'awa.
Aja'ai.
Aja'ai.
Wayakaparwa.
Wayakaparwa.
Wayabadu.
Wayabadu.
Wayada'aiwa.
Wayada'aiwa.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Atha.
Atha.
Shimka.
Shimka.
Yahawah.
Yahawah.
Labatka.
Labatka.
Ayawan.
Ayawan.
Alka-Aratsa.
Alka-Aratsa.
Zawada Aman.
Zawada Aman.
In the English, keep not thou silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
And be not still.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For lo, thy enemies make a tumult.
Thy enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee,
And they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel
against thy people.
against thy people,
and consulted against thy hidden
and
ones.
consulted against thy hidden
They
ones.
have said,
They have said,
Come, and let us cut them off,
and let us cut them off
from being a nation,
from being a nation,
that the name of Israel
in the name of Israel
may be no more remembered.
may be no more remembered.
For they have consulted together
They have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against
They
thee,
are confederate against
the
thee,
tabernacles of
the
Edom,
tabernacles of Edom,
and the Ishmaelites,
and the Ishmaelites,
of Moab,
of Moab,
and the Hagarenes,
and the Hagarenes,
the Baal and Ammon,
Baal and Ammon,
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the Philistines,
the Philistines,
with the inhabitants of Tyre,
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Asher also was joined with
Asher
them.
also has joined with
They
them.
have hope in the children of
They
Lot.
have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah. Do unto them,
Do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
as unto the Midianites,
as to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabez,
as to Jabez,
at the brook of
at
Kishon,
the brook of Kishon,
which perished at Endor.
which perished at
They
Endor.
became as dung for the
They
earth.
became as dung for the earth.
Make their nose like a red,
Make their nose like a
and
red,
like the air.
and like the air.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes,
all their princes,
and excellent, as above,
as above,
and as the Lord,
and as the Lord,
who said,
who said,
let us take to
let
ourselves
us say to
the
ourselves,
houses of
the
Yahweh,
houses
possession.
of Yahweh possession.
Oh my power,
Oh my power,
make them like the wind,
make like a wheel,
as the stubble before the wind,
as the stubble before the wind,
as the fire burning for wood,
as the fire burneth the wood,
and as the flame set the mountains on fire.
and as the flame set the mountains on fire,
So persecute them,
so persecute them
with thy temple,
with thy
and
tempest,
make them afraid,
and make them afraid
with thy sword,
with thy sword,
fill their faces with shame,
fill their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy name.
and they may seek thy name.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
let them be confounded,
let them be confounded,
and troubled forever.
and troubled forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame,
let them be put to shame,
and perish,
and perish,
that men may know
that men may know
that thou,
that thou,
whose name alone
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the most high,
art the Most High,
over all the earth.
over all the earth.
So be it.
So be
We're
it.
going to say the blessings. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Mayaka Allah.
Wa Mayaka Allah.
Wa Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim.
Mutaza Bayam.
Mutaza Bayam.
Alawaki Hana.
Alawaki Hana.
Ha Alawaki.
Ha Alawaki.
Ha Saranya.
Ha Saranya.
Ha Kwatzayanin.
Ha Kwatzayanin.
Ha Kwayanin.
Ha Kwayanin.
Wa Hakwathia.
Wa Hakwathia.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
Wadaman.
Wadaman. In the English, bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Mike.
And Mike.
And the agent.
And the agent.
Commanding General Yohanan.
Commanding General Yohanan.
The general.
The general.
The captain.
The captain.
The officer.
The officer.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
We're going to do the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh,
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth,
And all things living.
and all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh
In
Shai.
the name of Yahweh Shai.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses,
And punishment and destruction.
and punishment and destruction
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
That speak against
that
us.
speak against
Thy
us,
prophets.
thy prophets,
The teachers.
the teachers,
The princes.
the princes,
The priests.
the priests,
The Israelite brothers.
Israelite brothers,
And the school.
and the school.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses,
And punishment and destruction.
and punishment and destruction
To the heathen.
to the heathen,
And shake loose the treasure.
and shake loose the
Of
treasure
the rich of Israel.
of the rich of Israel
That refuse to give to the school.
that refuse to get to the school,
Force their riches.
force their riches,
To enter into thy sanctuary.
enter into thy
Send
sanctuary,
evils and curses.
send evils and curses,
And punishment and destruction.
and punishment and destruction
To the
to
Edomites.
the Edomites,
And the nation.
and the nation,
And their drug
and
dealers.
the drug dealers,
The court system.
the court system,
The prison system.
the prison system,
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood,
All the governments of our enemies.
all the governments of our enemies,
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Amalek synagogues and
The
armies,
Roman Catholic Church.
the Roman Catholic Church,
The Pope.
the Pope,
Islam.
Islam,
Christianity.
Christianity,
Egyptology.
Egyptology,
Militia.
militia,
Ku Klux Klan.
Ku Klux Klan,
Aryan Nation.
Aryan Nation,
Skinheads.
skinheads,
Posse Comitatus.
Posse Comitatus,
The gay
gay
movement. The lesbian movement.
the lesbian movement,
Spies.
spies,
Workers of witchcraft.
workers of witchcraft,
NASA space program.
NASA space program,
Army.
Army,
Navy.
Navy,
Air Force.
Air Force,
Marines.
Marines,
Wall Street.
Wall Street,
Open up the internet.
open up the internet,
And the airways.
And the airways.
The cable access channel.
cable access
And
channel,
the radio channel.
and the radio channel,
Convict the spirit
convict the
of
spirits
any of thy people
of any of thy people
that seek to stop
that
us
seek to stop
and
us,
bring swift destruction
and bring swift
to
destruction
all the heat
to all the heathen
that stand in the way
that stand in the way,
or try to stop us
try to stop
from
us
broadcasting your word
from broadcasting your word
throughout the planet Earth.
throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose all the
Let
planets.
loose all the plagues,
Cause them to go to and fro
cause them to go to and
through
fro
the earth
and
and consume them.
consume them.
Let the plagues
Let the plagues
shake the house of the thief
shake the house of the thief
and the murder.
and the murder.
Let your house shine.
Let the house shine.
Michael and Gabriel
Michael and Gabriel
come down with the flying saucer
come down with the flying
and punish
saucers
all the heat
and punish all the
that
heathen
come up against
that
us
come up against
as
us
we speak thy words.
as you speak thy word.
Cause it to be known
Cause it to be known
by all
by all
that it is the angels that have done it.
that is the angels that have done it.
Cause it to be spread
Cause it to be spread
through the media,
through the media,
throughout the whole
throughout the
world.
whole world.
Cause them to shake it that come.
Cause it to shake it thy
In the
covenant.
name of your house,
In the name of Yahweh
shake you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it.
With that, I say sorry, which means return. Sisters, please be seated. Men of Israel, gird up thy loins, prepare to salute the Torah. No sweat. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakia. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakia.
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakia.
Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakia.
Shalom.
Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakia.
Men of Israel, we're going to give one courteous salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, I'm Shabbat. I'm Barak.
Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakia.
Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakatham.
Yashmatah. Sar, sisters, please stand. We want to give one courteous salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, I'm Shabbat. I'm Barak.
Yahweh Shema Bashim Yahushua.
Yashmatah. Class dismissed.